A belated Happy New Year to all, my first new upload of 2026. Coming up in this video, we've got lots of news, lots of updates. We're going to go through all the colours of the rail lines here in Bangkok that are currently under construction or being extended. And we're going to pop down to Pattaya and see what the new Green Line project is all about. Plus, of course, lots of rail related antics and adventures to come. This is my new rail update for 2026. Well, most of the rail-related news this month has been about the disaster up in Nakhon Ratchasima province, where a crane collapsed down onto a passing train below, causing a huge explosion and a fire that killed 30 people and injured 69 others. The crane was part of the construction of phase 1 of the high-speed rail line to China. It happened at 9:13 in the morning, and as far as I know, most of the work on that project takes place overnight when there's minimum rail traffic down below. But whatever the circumstances were, it was a sad day for both the State Railway of Thailand and Italian Thai development. In 2025, the government proposed 20 baht flat fares for all rail travel around Bangkok, but for Thai nationals only. And this naturally drew anger and criticism from foreigners living here. My take on it was that if you had a visa for a year or more, then you should qualify for the 20 baht flat fares. Anyway, it didn't happen in the end, not because the foreigners were moaning, but because the Ministry of Transport were reluctant to subsidise this, and of course there was a change of Prime Minister, which meant a total change of policy, and it was scrapped. Well, last time I was on this railway track was when I was filming the video to find the location of the Clash Combat Rock album cover right here on my shirt. And that has become a milestone on the channel because it was something that had been much debated for many years on social media and in YouTube videos. People had done videos and posted photos claiming to have found that location. And I used to see these videos and pictures and think, no, you haven't. That is definitely not it. And then my friend said to me, well, why don't you bloody well find it? And after a few days of searching and researching online, I finally did find it. So I think that video deserves a bit of an extra shout out to get it a few more views. A question that gets asked a lot is when are the MRT and the BTS going to run a single ticketing system that covers both networks? Because it is a lot of hassle changing trains between the two and having to buy separate tickets, particularly at busy times. Now, as far as I know, there are no plans to do that, but the BTS could take a step in the right direction by accepting debit and credit cards on their machines, which I'm not sure if they're capable of doing that. And if they're not, then that would require a huge upgrade, and there are no plans for that as far as I know. Now, I was reading an article in The Nation the other day, and it mentioned the original 30-year concession contract that was awarded to BTSC when the SkyTrain opened in 1999. That was to operate the trains, maintain the tracks and the whole system. Now that comes up for renewal in 2029, and the rumour is that the MRTA may get the new contract, and then they would be effectively running both systems, and only then could they implement a single ticketing system between the two. So that's 4 years away. and we're not sure if it is going to happen, but we'll wait for that with bated breath. Well, you may have seen this yourself a few months ago. The BTS SkyTrain ran several trains decked out in the colours of the national flag, and this inevitably drew criticism from foreign netizens who called it over-nationalistic and xenophobic. I, along with millions of others, thought it looked wonderful. So construction of the MRT Purple Line extension is coming along quite nicely, and it seems that only yesterday I was here in Tao Pun exploring all the derelict houses just before demolition, when in fact it was over 2 years ago. So just goes to show that time flies when you're having fun and when you're getting old. Overall progress on the construction is 63%, with all tunnelling expected to be finished by later this year. The proposed opening date of 2029 has been put back a year due to a much publicised incident on Sam Sen Road last September. So here's an update on the western section of the MRT Orange Line. This has been under construction for about a year and is 16% completed. Although if you visit any of the stations at the moment, there's not much to see apart from heavy machinery digging deep holes and lots of concrete being poured to make the station boxes. Now eventually a tunnel boring machine will come in and link up all these station boxes, but we're still quite a way away from that. So the line will go from Bangkok Non in the west to Thailand Cultural Centre, where it will meet the eastern section of the line, which was completed a couple of years ago. That is scheduled to open by 2028, with the western section joining it by 2031. Well, this is the most promising proposal that I've seen for a rail network to be built around Pattaya. This is the Green Line, which will go from the future high-speed airport rail link station to Ballyhai Pier via Second Road, and it'll be the first of 4 lines to be built. Now, does Pattaya need an elevated rail network? Most locals will say yes, we do. The traffic around here is terrible at the best of times, but probably most of the old-time foreigners living in the past will say no, we don't. The BART buses are good enough and cheap enough. Building a rail network around Pattaya will of course piss off the BART bus companies, and they will most likely protest it for years to come, delaying it of course, but it's still in the environmental impact assessment stage, and if this is cleared it will go on to the feasibility study stage. And let's put this into context here. The feasibility study for the Bangkok SkyTrain was completed in 1974 and the network didn't open until 1999. Well, this is a stretch of railway line I'm quite familiar with. I have filmed from this footbridge here several times over the years. You get a great view of the railway tracks. But now you can't go up onto the footbridge because all the wood on the stairs on either side has rotted away. So I was here with Paddy about 1.5 years ago. We were filming scenes for my private detective short film. And in this scene, we're chasing the suspects and we've lost him on the railway tracks. So Paddy had to run up these stairs to get on top of the footbridge. And we didn't know at the time how rotten the stairs were. So Paddy's a bit of a legend for doing that. Anyway, in the scene, Paddy sees a suspect walking along the railway tracks, and the suspect is wearing headphones and listening to loud music. So Paddy's actually trying to warn him that there's a train coming up behind him, and he gets hit by a train. And it was a lot of fun to film it, and it should be out in about 3 or 4 months' time. Yeah, so Phil says, yeah, he's got a baseball cap.
Right.
He wears big headphones.
Aye.
And
well, is he black? Is he white? Is he Thai?
his name's Andreas. He's like Mediterranean, do you know what I mean?
So hang on a minute. There's a bloke over there. He's got headphones on. He's got a cap on. He looks proper dodgy, like. I don't want to point him out, but do you think that's him?
I tell you what, I'll cut down the other side, and you cut him off at the railway track, all right? Ah,
I can't believe that, like.
what the fuck have you done?
It wasn't me. I was screaming at him. I was saying, the train's coming, man. And I couldn't hear us.
Fuck
Next thing you know, the train's just clattered him. And there's blood and guts all over the shop.
What's Phil gonna say? Yeah, Phil. Yeah, you all right, mate? Totally mangled. He got hit by a train. Yeah.
Oh, it stinks as well.
Yeah. He wants some physical evidence.
You don't touch it, man.
That'd be handy, wouldn't it?
You're joking.
Put that in your bag.
There's no way, man.
So this is the third time I've come here in the last year to film a video, but I'm still not a fan of this station. I love the structure, I love the architecture, but here at Krung Thep Apiwat Central Terminal, they have taken the fun out of train travel completely. And if you've ever taken a train from here, I'm pretty sure you'll agree with me on this. They have these departure gates here where they make you wait until 15 minutes before departure. Then they let you up onto the platforms, and everyone seems to think it's a mad rush up the escalator to get on the train. And for me, that spoils the enjoyment of train travel. I like to stroll up and down the platforms, have a cup of tea, watch the trains coming and going. But you can't do that here. You've got to queue up downstairs like cattle. And last time I did that, I had the misfortune of being stuck behind two very smelly backpackers. So heading southbound in the future from this station will be 3 lines, you could say 4 lines actually. This structure here will carry the regular and the high-speed airport rail link trains. Can't give you a time frame on either of those, but I imagine the regular airport rail link will be running first. As for the dark red line, that will first be extended to Hua Lamphong, possibly in 8 to 10 years time. Then it'll be extended across the river to Klong San and Wong Wien Yai. Now, from what I've been reading in the media recently, Hua Lamphong and Klong San stations will now be underground. The original plan was for it all to be elevated. This has been an ongoing logistical dilemma for a few years now. Anyway, after Wong Wien Yai, the dark red line will eventually take over the Mekong line and run all the way to Makkasan. So there's always been a plan to extend the light red line to Hua Mak via Pattaya, Makkasan and Ram Kam Heng, but you can already get a train from Pattaya to Hua Mak. That's the airport rail link, and they're planning to extend that to Don Mueang Airport. That will of course stop here at Krung Thep Apiwat Central Terminal, so that will cover that route without the need for a light red line extension. So it'll be interesting to see if that ever gets built. Also worth mentioning is the western extension of the light red line from Taling Chan to Nakhon Pathom. There's also going to be a branch line from Taling Chan to Sirirat. These 2 projects have already been approved. Also, the dark red line will be extended north from Rangsit 10 kilometers to Thammasat University, and that has been approved as well. So construction for these projects could start in 2 to 3 years' time. I sometimes, as you've heard, still refer to this station as Bang Sue Grand Station. That's the old name. The new name came in a couple of years ago, Krung Thep Apiwat Central Terminal, but a lot of people still know this place as Bang Sue, and for me, this name change won't become official until they change the sign on the side of the building here. I think that's reasonable. Well, you can't come and hang around Bang Sue Grand Station without taking the SRT light red line to Taling Chan Junction. It's a very quick journey, under 15 minutes, and there are 2 stations in between, Bang Son and Bang Bam Ru, and sometime in the future they're planning 2 extra stations in between those. And Taling Chan Station itself, there's not much around here at the moment, although there are 3 other main lines that pass through here, and they terminate onto Thonburi, Hua Lamphong and Krung Thep Apiwat Central Terminal. So plenty of trains do stop here. And in the future, there's going to be an interchange with the BTS dark green line, the Ceylon line, although that station, the future location of it, is somewhere up by the intersection, about 400 to 500 meters away. So that has been announced, but they're yet to announce when they're going to start building it. So expect that in 7 or 8 years' time. So this is the electric battery locomotive that was unveiled in the media about 1.5 years ago. And on a full charge, it has a range of 150 to 200 kilometres, pulling 10 carriages full of passengers. So that's quite promising. The aim is to reduce greenhouse gases by 25 to 30% by 2030. I'm at a place called the Upper Deck here above Sukhumvit Road, and not only is it a great spot to have a beer and watch a football, it's also a great spot to do a bit of train spotting. Well, you might recognise this map. These are the maps outside MRT stations, and I like them because they're a lot more detailed than the ones you get on the SkyTrain. But on these maps, there is a rail line here that goes down to a place called Maenam, and as far as I know, that line doesn't exist. So I'm going to crack the mystery of the mystery train line. So this is the location of Maenam Station, and as you can see, there are no platforms, there's no ticket office, there's no station staff, of course, no food vendors hanging around, no station cats or dogs, absolutely nothing, just railway tracks. But there is a building across the road that says Maenam Station on it, and I think that's a clocking on point for freight train drivers. So maybe that's why it's marked on Google Maps, so freight train drivers can find it. But they should make a distinction between that and a real passenger station, because maybe tourists will come here hoping to get the train to the floating market or hoping to catch the Orient Express. Anyway, it's never been a commercial railway line, it's always been a freight line. So these tracks used to go down to the riverside to the old Maenam port, and that closed about 40 years ago. But I'm wondering how far the line goes today, and if I walk along it, can I get to the riverside? Let's find out. Well, this is as far as the tracks go. You can't go any further because it's completely overgrown, and I might tread on a snake or kick a wild dog or something like that. So I certainly won't be walking along these tracks to the riverside today. Thing is though, it's going to be dark soon, and it's about 2 kilometres back to civilization, and there's a couple of wild dogs here. There's a lot of garbage around, there's people sleeping rough. Not the kind of place you want to be after dark. It would be nice if there was an app like Grab or Bolt, but for trains, then I could just get a train to drive me out of here. Although, I do know one person who could help me, Richard Barrow. He's got Thai Train Guide website, which I'll leave a link to in the description, by the way. I'm going to give him a call. Hi Richard, it's Pat. Yeah, I'm in a bit of a pickle at the moment. It's going to be dark soon and I'm stuck at the very end of the Maenam freight line. Can you send me a train to get me out of here. A diesel locomotive would be nice. Oh, you can. I'm at Makkasan now, and I'm waiting for the next train to take us to our next destination. Not too far from the King's residence over at Dusit Palace is Chitladar Royal Pavilion. This is the royal train station reserved for special occasions when a member of the royal family wants to catch the train. It was built in 1897 during the reign of King Rama V, and then it was redesigned and rebuilt with a new pavilion in 1921. And with a bit of luck, there should be a train along any moment now. In the 1980s, when the Hopewell project was still in the planning stage, there were plans to build an elevated road and rail structure through this area. And this diagram gives you an idea of what that could have looked like. And it's pretty hard to believe that would ever have been allowed, because today there are certain regulations in place building elevated structures close to royal buildings. So when the red lines get extended through here in the future, they will be running subsurface and underground. Well, had the Hopewell project been a success, then I would now be sitting in the commercial area of one of their stations. And between you and me, I thought the Hopewell project looked pretty hideous. I'm sure you'll agree with that, although probably futuristic for its time. Well, there are two stations in the cyber universe that you need to get to if you want all the information you could ever want about the railways of Thailand. And that is thaitracks.com and thaitrainguide.com. And they're both run by the very talented Mr. Richard Barrow. There's a new chime they've got here at Bang Sue that comes up just before an announcement is made, and it's a lot groovier than the old one. A quick bonus update for you now. Probably doesn't mean much to you lot out there who are too high-so to use the regular train network here in Bangkok, but they've just updated and renovated the platform here at Pattaya, and it's all smooth and concrete. It might even attract a few tourists. After all, it is only 2 baht to go from here to Hua Lamphong. Well, if you've seen enough of my videos, you'll be familiar with this railway station. I've covered its history, I've covered its status. It was supposed to close down 3.5 years ago, but got a last-minute reprieve. But this is something I've always wanted to say on video, and surprisingly I haven't, and that is the confusion surrounding the name of this station. I've always called it Hua Lamphong railway station, and most of you would know it as that as well, but its official name is actually Bangkok Railway Station. Hua Lamphong Station was a station that used to be across the road there, and that was the terminus of the Pattaya Railway, which closed in 1957. And there used to be a plaque in the middle of the intersection in the exact spot where the station was. And when they rearranged the road layout of Hua Lamphong intersection, they moved that plaque to a spot just outside the museum in front of the station. So this is the plaque that used to mark the spot where the old Hua Lamphong train station used to be, out in the middle of the intersection there. The museum is closed today as it's a Monday, but it's normally open Wednesday to Sunday, 11 to 5 p.m. I've come back to the museum, it's now Thursday, and I thought I'd tell you the story of how this area got its name. So in the old days I used to put Hua Lamphong in Thai into Google Translate, and the English word that came up was speakerhead, and that used to confuse me until I knew the story. Now speakerhead is the nickname given to the flower that you'll know as the angel's horn, and it was called speakerhead because the head actually looked like an old speaker. And loads of those flowers used to grow around here when there were 2 major canals flowing through the area. There's only one left nowadays. So that's the story of how Hua Lamphong got its name. So I'm trying to rack my brains here as to whether I've ever showed you one of these trains in a video before. I'm pretty sure I have, although any footage of the inside wouldn't have been mine, because I'm ashamed to say I've never actually been on one. But I'm sure you are familiar with the fabulous Royal Blossom train, the ultimate in luxury train travel around Thailand. These are refurbished Japanese trains. This set arrived in 2017 and they were repainted, obviously, reconditioned. They had the bogies altered so the wheels fit the Thai 1 metre gauge tracks. And according to the news, they've got another 20 on the way that'll be serving suburban routes out of Bangkok by the end of the year. Well, you may remember last year I did a video on the high-speed airport rail link project, and in that video I suggested that construction could start in the next 2 to 3 years. I was being hugely optimistic, of course. You may not be surprised to know now that there are further delays to this project due to the recent dissolution of the government, which has meant that key amendments to this project won't be able to go through until there's a new government in office later this year. So expect more delays to the current delays, and the ETA for this project, I would say, is at least 10 to 12 years, and I'm being optimistic. Quick status update on the high-speed rail line to China project phase 1. That is the section from Bangkok to Nakhon Ratchasima, which has already started construction. I did do a video on this a few months ago, but there are going to be further delays to this due to continued land appropriation issues in Ayutthaya, and there's also the problem of the elevated structure that will carry trains from Krung Thep Apiwat Central Terminal to Don Mueang. Now this will be shared with the high-speed airport rail link trains, but the issue here is that these are two separate projects, and as we know, the high-speed airport rail link project isn't even close to starting. So in an ideal world you would think they would get together and just get the structure built, but that probably isn't going to be so straightforward. So expect further delays by at least 3 to 5 years. There's a new website I've got to tell you about. It's called Thai Tracks, and we'll just wait for this loco to go past. Do you mind? I'm trying to make a video here. So quick status update on the high-speed airport rail line into China. Doesn't go to China. These are two separate projects. you know what? I never heard that until it was real close. There's another one coming as well. Where are these trains when I'm standing here hoping to film trains? I stand there for 20, 30 minutes sometimes and they don't come. Now when I don't want a train, there's two at once. All the while since I've been filming here, I've avoided falling down this hole, but I can hear movement in the dry sort of tree branches and grass here, and it's not cats, otherwise it would have come out and bothered me for food. Definitely not dogs, so it can only be snakes. Well, that just about wraps up my first rail update for 2026. I hope you found it interesting, educational, or even riveting. You thought I was going to say exciting there, didn't you? Anyway, please do subscribe if you haven't already done so. Like, share, leave a comment. If you want to support me and support the channel, you can do so via the Buy Me a Coffee link on the screen. That just leaves me to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.